Roll call.
Mr. Ronaldo?
Here.
Mr. Richmond?
Here.
Mr. Lake?
Here.
Mr. Martray?
Here.
Mr. Martucci?
Here.
Mr. Martell? Mr. Candela?
Here.
Mrs. Sangston? Mr. Rebates?
Here. We stand for a moment of silence and pledge allegiance. Thank you. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Monday evening, we were in executive session from 6 p.m. to approximately 8 on personnel issues. This evening, we were in executive session from 6 to approximately 7:10 on personnel and possible litigation. We have several people that signed up this evening to speak. If someone has not signed up, we'll give you a chance to sign up. Just remind everybody that there's a 3-minute limit on speaking to the board. And once you start to get close to the 3 minutes, I'll kindly ask you to conclude. Please be respectful. With that, we'll move into the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting? Motion and second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Do I have a motion for the treasurer's report? Motion and second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Do I have a motion for the payment of general and federal fund bills? Motion and a second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Do I have a motion for the payment of the cafeteria fund bills? Motion is second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Moving to public comment for agenda items. Lou Bell.
For the record, my name is Lou Bell. I'm a taxpayer in the Collinsville School District and a retired tax collector for this district with 20 years service. And before I begin, I'd like to say, looking out here, it looks like a convention of bank workers. Okay, so anyhow, but I'd like to begin. 4 years ago, the school district cut the compensation of elected tax collectors nearly 40%, which was unfair. It's very misleading. As a result of that action, the tax collector sued the school district, which has not been resolved yet. Similar action taken by neighboring school district also resulted in a lawsuit. Their resulting settlement was $12.50 a bill. As you approach this item tonight, I hope that tonight's vote will not be tied to the current suit, as fearing that you're going to set a precedent. I hope that doesn't happen. The tax collector's duties, as most people know, in this school district, the tax collectors prepare and stuffs over 17,000 bills every tax cycle. Of course, they're expected to get the bills out. They reconcile the bills with payments, timely reports. Those are all the traditional duties. In recent years, a number of mandates and duties have been dumped upon them, from the taking of installments for school taxes, mandatory mailing out reminders in December, unpaid taxes, so people have an opportunity to pay their taxes, the homestead issues, which directly affects school taxes, any issue regarding homestead, the taxpayers approach the tax collectors. Senior rebates, another area that the tax collectors are constantly brought in to help the seniors. So the duties have been very expanded. They receive no benefits, no pensions, no health care, no comp, no time, nothing like that. Please remember that. No utilities for office expenses, no reimbursements of any kind, other than this employer share of Social Security. When you're determining what the fair compensation is, I'd like you to remember, and I know you know this, but it bears repeating. Tax claim at the courthouse, you pay them 5% commission to collect your taxes. Before they were cut, they were getting 1.25%. Plus any fees that assessed goes to that agency. Your own income tax, you hire an agency to collect that, you pay them commission, any fees goes to that agency. This school board reimburses the city of Collinsville, the treasurer's office, in the neighborhood of $10 a bill to help offset the clerk taking in the tax bills for the school district, $10 a bill. Additionally, it's unfair when you want to compare, as a media and different stories got, comparing the compensation of tax collectors with what the county pays. If you're going to use that avenue, you have to also look at all the salary structures in the school district, department heads, secretaries, maintenance, electricians. The pay scale in the school districts is far greater. Okay, it's just not a fair comparison. What I'd like to see this evening, before this is brought to a vote, I'd like to see a board member make a motion to generate enough votes to garner a vote on either an $8 bill for a generated bill plus $1 installment, or a 1.1% commission of the collections. Both amounts roughly the same. The current $5.50 a bill is just totally unacceptable for these folks to run these offices and provide this level of service. Thank you.
Thank you. Joseph Jones, please.
First off, I would like to thank you for giving me an opportunity to address you all tonight. I appreciate it. As a tax collector in my 5th term, after this year's up, I'll be tax collector also for 20 years for the school district. So I've been around for a little while. All I ask is for fairness. I think that's what anybody would ask for. But when you say fairness, what does fairness mean? That's left to be interpreted. In my case, if I was considering somebody's compensation, I would consider duties that they do, hours that are put in to do the job. I think that would be fairness in setting some compensation. And so that's all I'm asking tonight. I mean, I know personally a lot of you on the board, not that has anything to do with it, but we're not strangers. All we're asking for is fairness. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Jamie McWill.
Good evening, board members and community members. Can I steal one of his minutes by chance, since he only spoke for about a minute and a half? Before I begin, can I just ask a few questions? Do we know how many positive cases there was at CAMS on Monday evening, by chance? Ms. Brown, do you remember?
Mr. McCoy, as you're aware, this is public comment, and not public back and forth. But however, we do send out letters as required by the Department of Health. When the Department of Health supplies us with a letter,
your letter
we send it out.
says greater than one person. It's very misleading.
It's the exact letter supplied by the Department of Health.
Okay.
Thank you.
So am I allowed to ask any questions here? Well, I'll just read out my questions. If you would be polite enough to answer them, that would be great. I was told there was 4 Monday evening. If that were the case, the school probably should have been closed Tuesday. We feel like we're being misled with the data, unfortunately. How many cases are currently at the high school? Any discussions on the COVID committee? We have committees for everything else in this district. Why don't we have a COVID committee? Okay, so they were my questions. Oh, last question. Do administrators have to use sick days when they are quarantined? Anybody?
Again, Mr. Well, this is public comment, it's not public dialogue. And you're asking very specific human resource questions involving individuals.
So can I call you the resources and they'll tell me that tomorrow?
If it's something identifiable, an individual, it's confidential material, then it will not.
Okay. Tonight's remarks are taken from a number of employees I've had discussions with across the district. To say the least, we are disappointed and confused about your decision to force the high school staff members to work from 2 different buildings last Wednesday. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was my understanding that the high school building was closed in order to be deep cleaned due to a number of COVID-19 cases. We were under the impression that each and every day our buildings are deep cleaned. Before the start of the school year, we asked about closing the schools so they could be deep cleaned every Wednesday and Saturday. It was stated in our meetings that buildings were deep cleaned each and every day, so it wasn't necessary to clean them on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Maybe that was the perception you wanted to sell to the public. Our confusion begins with the fact that, historically speaking, our board members have taken great pride in the fact that they have hired the best of the best candidates when an opportunity to hire has arisen. I would like to think that you are making the decision to hire a teacher, staff member, because you respect the professional training and manner in which they conducted themselves in the interview process, as well as their experience and recommendations. However, when the time comes to actually trust our professional employees, that doesn't happen. The majority of the board members choose to apply punitive sanctions instead. It's amusing that we trust our students to take their own attendance and complete all their schoolwork from home, but we do not trust our staff members to work from home when they have the ability to do so. Punishing the entire staff for the mistakes made by a few individuals is the antithesis of what we are taught to do in the field of education. If teachers were to hold their entire classes accountable for the negative actions, behaviors, or scores of one student, surely we would be counseled by administration and corrective action would take place. However, our board doesn't seem to follow the best practices set forth for the schools located within their own district. If someone, teacher, aide, custodian, administrator, etc., does not do their job, then please hold that person accountable. By the way, the spring COVID plan was designed by your administration, not the teachers. The bottom line is this, that the leadership of this district is letting the community down. Education, as we know, has changed. It's time for us to change the way we think about education. It's no longer acceptable. Can I borrow 1 minute?
Yes, please, can you wrap up, please?
It's no longer acceptable to educate students the way we did 20 years ago. Can I send this to you?
Oh, yes, please. You can forward any information you have.
As a group, we are looking for leaders who value their employees, treat us with respect, show some empathy, and recognize the importance of boosting morale. We are looking for someone on the other side who will trust us and will extend some professional courtesy instead of making decisions that deepen the divide between the staff and the administration. Why don't we seek ways to unite us? At some point, trust has to be restored in this district, or the divide that exists between us will only grow. District morale and pride is at an all-time low, And dare I say, things were better 5 years ago. The time for seeking revenge and trying to undo everything Mr. Martell established is over.
Thank you.
Whether you want to admit it or not, there's
Mr.
many
Boyle.
positive things. I'm closing here, please. Thank you. It's time to change the culture and bring a sense of pride back to this district. We have lost our compass. We can only do this through trust, through better communication, and by working through our differences. On behalf of all teachers in the district, I am reaching a hand out to you. I can only hope that you will meet us halfway. Aren't our students and the people of this community worth it? Thank you. Thank you.
Next we have Carl.
Excuse me, I have a question there.
I've got a question.
Mr. Boyle, I like the idea of setting up a COVID committee. So I think that this board will look into that. I mean, it's getting kind of late in the game, but if we can do something, then we'll do it.
Thank you.
Pretty much everybody knows me. I'm Carl Bushgate, the automotive collision instructor at the Career Center for 36 years. Since the beginning of school this year, I've had an issue with the students taking their own attendance. They mark themselves present, and then of course they don't come to school. What are we teaching our young children, our kids that are going to go to work? You can mark yourself present and not come to school. I use the Go Guardian system every day. Today, I had 9 students online. 9. And I have their times. None of my 12th graders were online all day long. I had 3 10th graders. One was on for 59 minutes, and then he was on for 4 hours and 4 minutes. Then he was on, another one was on for 20 seconds, and another one was on for 25 minutes. I had 3 other ones. One was on for 3 hours and 2 minutes and 4 hours and 6 minutes. One was on for 35.3 minutes and one 55 seconds. 55 seconds is how long he was online. Another student was on, a 9th grader, 1 hour and 1 minute and 2 hours and 7 minutes. One was on for 1.2 minutes, and another one was on for 10 seconds. I really have an issue, and whoever decided to come up with the students making the choice of marking their own attendance, marking themselves present, it needs to change, because the staff members, the teachers are coming to me, and I will speak up. I've asked Mr. James about it, we've talked about it. Just hang in there. It's not getting any better. What is the district's, what is your policy on attendance and the students marking themselves present and not being online? And also, let's get to the grades, the grading system. Our students in Collinsville Area School District are failing. There is over 2,000 students in this district that are failing the first and second 9 weeks, over 2,000. I know, I've heard the numbers. And it's bad. I just left the Career Center to get a phone number of a parent. I called a parent because one of my students, I'm getting a job at Huffman's Auto. And I took the time to go up there and get a number to call the parent. And I said to her, you got to make sure that the so-and-so goes down on these grades. And he is doing that. The kids that are online with the Go Guardian system that I love to use, the kids that are online, they're the ones that are being successful. They're the ones that are doing great in the programs. They're the ones that are doing the certification programs. They're doing the SP2 certifications. They're doing the Ford certifications. But the other kids, they're doing absolutely nothing. And nobody wants to face the facts. They are doing nothing. Zero. And you have to remember, one day, you will purchase tires in Walmart or Westside Tire Loop, and hopefully you're going to get 4 tires put on your car, not 50%. You go get an oil change, you hope that they put 5 to 6, 7 quarts of oil, or if it's a diesel, you better hope they put about 17 quarts of oil in that vehicle, or you're gonna be in trouble. How can I give somebody a 50% on an assignment if they're not here? I'm not gonna do it. Not after 36 years. Too many people know me. I'm not gonna do it. And also, I agree with Mr. McCoyle on the deep cleaning. And I've talked to Mr. James about this. Deep cleaning, I just left the career center and went into the men's room in the bathroom. There was about that much toilet tissue on the paper roll. And I've called, Mr. Curtis has been great with it. You know, deep cleaning, I'd like to see it. I would really, really like to see it. But it's a shame when a staff member, a teacher's aide has to come out and tell me that the girls' room needs taken care of. And we use those bathrooms. The staff uses the bathrooms in the shops. So, I hope you look into the grading and the attendance and something needs done. It's whoever thinks it's working, it's not. It's not working.
Thank you, Mr. Bushko. Next, we have, Mary Grace Butel.
Good evening, Board. First of all, listening to these comments is very disturbing. This COVID pandemic is very serious. It's serious business. As an elected tax collector, I can tell you there's not a day that goes by that someone doesn't call my office that either has had the virus, has the virus, someone in their family has had it, hospitalized, or someone in their family has died, a relative or friend. So it's very serious, and I really do hope that, we can get these vaccines so that we can get back to normal. But anyhow, so my topic tonight, again, is tax collector compensation. And I want to thank you, Mr. Bell. Everything you said was correct, and Mr. Helms also. I'm only here, again, to ask for fair and reasonable compensation as compared to what other school districts are paying their elected tax collectors. Thank you.
Thank you. Sherry?
Hello, my name is Sherry Kovic. I am Salt Lake Township tax collector. I am asking you please to reconsider your compensation that you offer to the tax collectors. That is a lot of our livelihoods. We depend on that to pay our retirement, our health insurance. We have to maintain an office, which we pay rent for, or a mortgage, property taxes, insurance, all the utilities, office supplies, and none of that is tax deductible anymore in our federal taxes because it's considered employee business expenses. So that is something we cannot take off, and it runs into thousands of dollars. So just asking you to please reconsider your recommendation for compensation. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all we have for agenda items tonight. Moving to departments, athletics and recreation, Mr. Monjo.
Thank you. Request the approval to award bids for spring sports supplies and equipment to the lowest responsible bidder meeting specifications. I so move.
Motion second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
That's the only item we had. Mr. Lake, you have anything? Thank you. Oh, we have.
Thank you.
I do have something, I'm sorry. just like to inform everybody, Mr. Saxon couldn't be here because she has an illness in the family.
Thank you. Moving to buildings and grounds, Mr. Mondo.
Thank you, sir. Item A, request the approval of the following event and building use request, subject to adherence to the district's health and safety plan and all applicable state and federal laws and orders, including any mandatory or recommended cancellations, rescheduling, or postponements, and on the condition that requesters provide an event for use-specific health and safety plan acceptable to the district. Any scheduling or rescheduling and postponement shall be on the sole discretion of the district and under such terms and conditions as may be set forth to the district. Should I read the entire list of requests?
Not necessary, Mr. Mondo. We could
Place the request on the agenda.
Yeah, there were seven items on there. If anybody has a question.
And also,
We have a motion. We have a second. Motion is second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
item B, request the approval to authorize the administration to solicit RFPs from architects, engineers, and consultants for the development of the specifications to solicit competitive bids for the replacement of the Delmar Township Elementary School roof. The project to be funded from the Capital Reserve Fund. I so move.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Item C, request the approval for the district to pay for maintenance of the Olympic oak tree located at Falcon Stadium at an estimated cost of $836.20 to be paid for from the general fund, and I so move.
Motion is second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Item D, request the approval to hire Jordan Henry as a 4-hour custodian effective February 1st, 2021. I so move.
Motion is second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Item E, request the approval of Renault Brothers mechanical contract to replace the collar fittings at the Springfield Clifford Fritz Elementary School at a cost of $12,481 to be paid for by Capital Reserve Funds. I so move.
Have a motion. Motion is second. This was not on Monday night's agenda. Anybody have any questions on the board or from the public? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Item F, this also was not on. Request the approval to advertise for bids for sale of unused equipment and supplies and dispose of any unsold items after bid opening. And I so move.
Motion, we have a second. Motion is second. Once again, the item is not on the agenda Monday night. Any questions from the board or public?
I have a question, Mr. Bannon.
Yes.
When COVID hit and we had to rearrange classrooms and buildings, things came up missing. Would those things be included in this, or?
I don't, Mr. Kirsch,
No.
Okay,
you say no.
okay, thanks.
Any other questions?
We get a list of what needs to be disposed of.
Yep, I'll give you a list before we auction. I'll give you a list next board meeting.
Okay, thank you.
No other questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
And under item G, the committee meeting was held Thursday, January 21st at 6 o'clock. And that's all we have for, Mr. Mark Craig, you have
Nothing.
first one.
Nothing.
That's all we have, Mr.
Thank you. Moving to Carnegie Free Library, Mr. Horstman.
Thank you, Mr. Atlantic. I have nothing. Mr. Lake. Mr. Pantella. We have nothing, thank you.
Thank you. Those were your career concerns, Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mack. Mr. Martucci, you have anything? Sir. Mr. Mondial?
No.
Mr. James?
Nothing, thank you, sir.
We have nothing for Mr. Mack.
Thank you. Moving to curriculum.
Thank you, Mr. Romano. Letter A, request approval to purchase TI and Spare CXII Easy Spot Teacher Kits at an approximate cost of $21,599.85 to be paid for from the Continuous Education Grant for at ATSI schools as budgeted. I so move.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
B, request approval to purchase TI 30X IIS scientific equipment at an approximate cost of $4,000 to be paid for out of the community education grant for ATSI schools as budgeted. And I so move.
Motion is second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
C, request approval for Greg Martre, guidance counselor, to participate in the Visual Autism Spectrum Masterclass February 24th, February 25th, 2021, at a cost of $291.32 for registration as budgeted. I so move.
Motion is second. Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
We had a committee meeting on January 19th, 2021, at 4:30 p.m. And that's all I have. Mr. Martre, anything to say? Dr. Jones?
I have nothing, thank you.
That's all we have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Moving to cyber, please.
Nothing, thank you.
Thank you. Moving to federal programs. Mr. Martucci.
Thank you, Mr. Manning. There was a committee meeting held January 19th, 2021 at 4:30, and that's all we have. Mr. Mortre. Dr. Coons?
I have nothing, thank you.
That's all, Mr. Manning. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to finance, Mr. Mondale.
Item A, request the approval to exonerate local tax collectors from collecting the 2021 real estate taxes and to accept and submit to the county the 2021 settlement subject to audit. I so move.
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Mr. Mondial, before you go on to B, may I ask if it would be at this time that I can have a motion to table this motion until the board has a chance to reconvene and discuss what figures and information that we've got.
So Mr. Ronaldo has made a motion to table.
I would be okay with that. We're going to have a discussion.
We have a motion to table, and we have a second. And we have a second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
a chance for them to meet, come in and meet with us? We have a meeting.
Tax collectors, very gracious.
How about our guy will call your guy and we'll get a meeting set? Okay. Maybe we can get everything settled and talk about everything.
Yes, that's good. I just wanted to remind the board that, compensation has to be set by February 15th.
Right,
By February 15th, it has to be set.
we have to set it by February 15th, so we'll have to have a special meeting just to do that, not any other business.
I'm moving into, item C. Request the approval to accept the donation of a piano from the Strine family of Lawrenceville for the West Crawford Elementary School. And I so move.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Item D, a committee meeting was held on January 21st at 8:30 a.m. And that's all we have, Mr. Pantella, do you have anything? One thing here. You have anything?
No, I have nothing.
That's all we have, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to food service, Mr. Markey.
Thank you, Mr. Atlantic. We have no agenda items at this time. Mr. Panzella. Mr. Horstman. Mrs. Basic, are you having that? That's all, Mr. Atlantic. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to personnel and review liaison, Mr. Markey.
Thank you, Mr. Atlantic. Item A, guidance secretary, request approval to appoint Pamela Krasinski at the high school, lesson 12-month guidance secretary, effective January 27th, 2021, and direct administration advertising of post vacancies potentially created by this appointment. I so move.
We have a motion second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Item B, personal student aid, request approval to hire Catherine Leonard as a personal student aid effective December 16th, 2020. I so move.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Item C, long-term substitute. Request approval of Stephen Yutzi as a long-term substitute teacher at the middle school for the second semester of the 2021 school year. I so move.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Item D, unpaid leave of absence. Request approval for Trudy Baker, aide, to take intermittent unpaid dates as needed for the remainder of the 2021 school year. I so move.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Item E, unpaid leave of absence. Request approval for Rachel Scholars, aide, to take intermittent unpaid days as needed for the remainder of this 2021 school year. I so move.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Item F, unpaid leave of absence. Request approval of Stacy Keisha, aide, to take intermittent unpaid days as needed for the remainder of the 2021 school year. I so move.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Item G, an unpaid leave of absence. Request approval for Devin Kiefer, custodian, to take a leave of absence for the remainder of the 2021 school year. I so move.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Item H, unpaid leave of absence. Request approval for Tammy Nelson, teacher, to take a leave of absence beginning January 25th, 2021, to be used intermittently for the remainder of the 2021 school year. I so move.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
Item
carried.
I, professional substitutes. Request approval of the following additions to the professional substitute list for the 2021 school year. Michael Sledge, Health and Phys Ed, K through 12, and Amanda Middlevider, Tara Kiefer, Nurse. I so move.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Item J, intermittent leave. Request approval for Crystal Schroyer, aide, to take intermittent unpaid days as needed for the remainder of the 2021 school year. I so move.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Item K, intermittent leave. Request approval for Mary Hickson, aide, take intermittent unpaid days as needed for the remainder of this 2021 school year, and I so move.
Motion is second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Item L, permanent contract, request approval for the permanent contracts for the following professional employee based upon completion of 3 years satisfactory service with the Collinsville Area School District. Gentlemen, yes, and I so move.
Motion is second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Item N, retirement, request approval to accept the retirement of Diane Smith, Secretary, effective August 2nd, 2021, and I so move.
Motion is second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Item N, stipend, request approval to assign additional duties of grants and accounting liaison to Kathy Rupert, purchasing manager, at an annual stipend of $5,000 effective January 28, 2021, to January 2022, 28, 2022, and I so move.
Motion is second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Item O, resignation, request approval to accept the resignation of Linda Snyder, LPN, effective January 29th, 2021. I so move.
Motion is second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Item P, request approval to hire Dan Solomon as acting human resource generalist, effective January 28th, 2021, at a daily rate of $300 as needed. I so move.
Motion is second, this is a new item. Any questions from the board or public? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
And our committee meeting was held on January 20th, 2021, 11 a.m. Mr. Grinaldo, do you have anything additional? Mr. Montiel? Mr. Bradley? That's all we have.
Thank you. Moving to policy and legislative, Mr. Marshall.
Thank you, Mr. O'Malley. Policy correction, be the first reading. It's under section 217, graduation. And the only thing that's changing on it is requirements for the class of 2022 and 2023. That's the only change. And I so move.
Motion is second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
That's all I have, Mr. Martucci. Mr. Bernardo. Mr. Bradley.
Nothing, thank you.
We have nothing else, thank you.
Thank you. Safety and security, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have nothing further tonight. Mr. Martucci, do you have anything to add? Mr. Parlay? That's all we have.
Thank you. Moving to special education, please.
Thank you, Mr. Burnett. Request approval for Christy Carlos, speech and language pathologist, to complete her practicum supervisor of special education with Mr. D'Amico beginning January 28, 2021 through June 10, 2021, and I so move.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Request approval for indicator and Captain Schaefer teachers to take a VMAP online training at an approximate cost of $298 as budgeted, and I so move.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And we had a virtual committee meeting that was held on January 14th, 2021 at 5 p.m. Mr. Lake, anything further? Mr. Martinez? Mr. D'Amico? That's all we have, thank you.
Mr. Bernardo, what's letter D?
Thank you very much. I didn't turn the page. D, committee meeting will be held Thursday, February 11th, 2021 at 5 p.m. And at this particular point in time, right now, that would be an in-person meeting. If we need to make it a virtual meeting, we'll notify the committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to student services, Mr. Montiel.
Thank you. Item A, request approval for Ashley Ewing to complete her internship, which is $600 with 240 hours being direct contact with students. For school counseling through California University of Pennsylvania with district school counselors Tori Sparks and Lori Scheller. And I so move.
Motion is second, all in favor? Opposed, motion carries.
Item B, request approval for Tori Sparks, Jamie Quinn, Gregory Martray, all counselors, to participate in the 2021 Virtual National School Counseling Leadership Conference, February 10th and 11th, at an approximate cost of $537 as budgeted, and I so move.
Motion is second, all in favor? Opposed, motion carried.
And item C is that a committee meeting will be held Thursday, February 11th at 5:30 p.m. And, Mr. Lake, do you have anything?
No, thank you.
Mr. D'Amico? That's all we have, Mr. O'Malley.
Thank you. Moving to technology, Mr. Penzo.
Chromebook purchase, request approval to purchase 350 Lenovo Chromebooks from Staples Technology Solutions at a cost of $97,230 as budgeted. And on the side note, we're hoping will be paid for the grant we will be getting. And I so move.
Motion is second. Question. Mr. Gross, is those, do you buy these through co-stores?
This is on the state contract, yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
No other questions, all in favor? Opposed, motion carried.
Okay, nothing.
Nothing further, thank you.
Thank you. Moving to transportation, Mr. Lake.
Thank you, Mr. O'Malley. Request approval of the private student transportation contract with Tracy Fields during the 2020-2021 school year, and I so move.
Motion second, all in favor? Opposed, motion carried.
Also, I'd like to inform you that a committee meeting was held on Thursday, January 21st, 2021 at 8:30 a.m. That's all we have, Mr. O'Malley. Mr. Cancelo, do you have anything? Mr. Archie? Mr. Evans? That's all we have, Mr. O'Malley. Thank you.
Thank you. I have nothing under the president's report. We move to public comment on non-agenda items. We have a couple of people here. Jody, please.
Hi, my name is Jody Ornbell, and I'm here to bring something to the board's attention that I'm sure if you guys all know. There is a section of property that the school district owns that is between the Falcon Stadium and Vicksburg Street. It is actually directly behind Mr. Mondel's house. And since sometime in December, there has been a section of property back there posted with no parking signs. Only from one property line to another, from my sister's property line to my sister's property line, so that they cannot park there. They have been parking in that area for 17 years. I have pictures of where the property is posted. Of course, Mr. Mongel's property is not posted with no parking. And I have pictures of him having people park there while my sister's property was posted there. The neighbor on the opposite side of my sister is still parking there. There are not any no parking signs on that section of property. When asked why this happened, I called Mrs. Marlene and asked her, why is that section of property posted now? Mr. Mongel went in there complaining that my sister's boyfriend's truck was parked there and took it upon himself, I'm assuming because board members evidently don't know this, went and posted that section of school property. So when I asked Marlene about it, she sent Mr. Kirsch and his crew to post all of the property. Mr. Mongel and his wife came out and they've seen and told Mr. Kirsch's workers that if they listened to what he had to say, they would be in trouble. I only want fairness here. If the school property is posted, post all of it. Why should Mr. Mongel's neighbors and friends get to park there? We had a family function at Christmas. My mom is 71. They couldn't park to walk to my sister's house. They've been parking there for 17 years. They called the police because my mom and dad parked in front of those signs. The police evidently called Mr. Parlak and he said it was voted on amongst you guys to post that little section of property? Was that voted on? Did you vote to post one little section of property? And if not, why is Mr. Rangel able to walk into an office and have a vendetta against his neighbor and post a section of property? That's what I want to know. I don't understand why someone can walk in and take control of something by himself when we have a board. I'm listening to all of these comments tonight, and it seems to me that there's a lot more in this district that needs to be dealt with than bullying your neighbor. That's very upsetting to me. I just don't understand, and I shouldn't say I don't understand what started it, because I do. There's opposing political signs in both yards. And when that happens,
Excuse me.
this happens.
You can't,
I'm assuming that's what started it.
well, you can't,
But my question is, if you're going to post it all.
yeah, post it.
If you're not posting it, then take it all down. Why is it only posted in one section? The neighbors on the opposite side, these neighbors have taken care of that property. They've laid gravel. As a matter of fact, Mrs. Mongel told my sister she could put gravel there last summer if she wanted to, because they were going to purchase the property, because they were draining their pool on it. So my sister said about the mud, and they told her they could put gravel down anytime they wanted, because they were getting ready to post the property. I just want fairness. If they can't park there, all of the cars will be parked out on Pittsburgh Street. Anybody who has a property there will be parking right on Pittsburgh Street. And if you post that, that means nobody can park there for the football games. That's the student side. That's where all the parents park. So I wanted to bring it to the board's attention, because I really don't think that was voted on by the board.
Mr. President, I'd like to respond to this.
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Artell, you really don't know what you're talking about.
I know that the property is posted.
Okay, well, let me speak. This field and the woods back there, you were very familiar with, Mr. O'Malley. And the reason that it's posted, no parking here, is because there were automobiles that were damaged from the trees breaking and falling down on that, and that is school property.
But I have pictures. I can show you the pictures of the people still parked there.
Did I interrupt
Still
you?
parked there.
Mrs. Artell, did I interrupt you while you were telling all these lies in front of everybody?
I have pictures,
I'm
Mr. Martell.
trying
There were no
to
lies.
explain to the board.
You're just not
Why
called
these
out about
lies
your
are
lies.
up there?
Excuse me, can we have some order, please? Thank you.
Mr. O'Malley, there's a big field where people park, and this happens to be behind my house. It's not on my property whatsoever. Anybody that wants to park in that field, the school district gives them the okay to park there. If they're going down for a football game or a band concert or whatever, there are a lot of people that utilize that field. There's plenty of area to park. I have a 2-car garage and a carport. In addition to that, when we need extra parking, people that come to my house park in that field. And Mr. O'Malley knows that too, because he does that on occasion. The only place that those signs had to be put was there's a very narrow area between. You've been there a million times.
Mr. Montel, I have pictures. I can
Between
show
where
the whole board.
the trees are falling down and the alleyway. You can't have people parking there and have the school district responsible.
There are woods all back there. And where your company parks, there are woods. Where Kim's company parks, there are woods. And I have pictures to
Where
prove it.
my company parks is back in the field. There is no woods there. There's no way.
That's not true. I
Well,
have
that
a
is
picture of a
true.
white car parked
That
there
is true, and I
after you
appreciate it. I would appreciate it if you, when you come to the board, if you have a problem with me come to me.
I
You
don't
wanna
have a
come to
problem.
the
I'm
board, you
showing
better
the
tell them
board.
the truth. How many times have you,
How many times have I what?
lady,
How many times have I what, Mr. Monjo? Come to the board about your bullying? That's exactly what you're doing. You're being a bully.
you came to the board.
You're being a bully.
You're telling as many lies.
I'm gonna show them pictures. Would anybody like to see the pictures of where the property is posted? It's posted directly behind my sister's home. Not on Mr. Mongel's property and not on the neighbors further down. That is a bully.
Mr. Cursor, you
He's
should
being
know what
vindictive
these
for a
signs
reason.
are posted.
I didn't go out there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't go out there. My guys went out there. Posted it.
Yeah, there's five of them. Five posted. They're all along, they're all in front of the trees that were breaking down. I had to buy a new windshield on one of my vehicles because.
So after 17, so trim the trees, Mr. Monjo.
Pardon?
I mean, after 17 years, people have been parking there for 17, Julie's lived there 17 years and never had a problem. Never had a problem.
Just a point of order, we passed our 3 minutes in. I think we've also dived into the civil issue. If Mr. Witt, at his discretion, as the solicitor would like to review anything, he can be in contact.
Okay.
Thank you.
Question, Mr. Witt. Is there a reason that we couldn't put park at your own risk instead of no parking? If the issue is, tree branches falling on vehicles.
My sister's been there 17 years, there's never been a trigger and it's falling her vehicle.
It's school property, obviously, it's up to the discretion of the board in terms of what they, want to limit or restrict with respect to that property. If it's an instance where there is, some sort of danger with respect to property or people that will park there, that may be something that the board would want to consider. Otherwise, they want to leave it open to the public, but whatever position the board takes, you want to make sure it's,
This board was never notified of any problem out there and any reason to put up a no parking sign.
Okay, thank you. Moving to, please.
Hello, my name is Betty Jo Malmix, and I'm here on behalf of the wrestling team and students and parents. So, good evening first to everyone on the school board. I, as well as the other parents of the Falcon wrestling team, are here on behalf of our children, who are student athletes. We are respectfully asking for a reversal of the decision to pause our program. We realize that it is a local decision and are in fact taking the appropriate steps to contact all of you with regards to it and how it affects the current season. First and foremost, the pause is not rooted in science and the Department of Health's guidelines as far as exposure to COVID-19 is concerned, because no one has been asked to quarantine. It was a step taken without consideration of all of the facts. The health and safety of our student athletes were at no time placed at risk. The case in question that brings us here to begin with was an individual who tested positive and in fact was masked and socially distanced to the point they were not near the wrestlers. So with that being said, this individual was not a contact nor a close contact by definition. If in fact there had been contact, our children would be quarantined. But they're instead attending school since the exposure did not meet the Department of Health's guidelines to quarantine, i.e. time, space, mask wearing. All of those students to continue their normal day-to-day activities with no change. What they currently are being kept away from, again, without meeting said guidelines, is wrestling and wrestling practice. The varsity wrestlers are the ones directly impacted by this decision and are being left out of one of the country's top competitions of the year, if not the top competition in the country, taking place this Friday and Saturday, which is the Powerade tournament. Jake Layton, Chad Ozias, Mason Prinky, Gabe Ruggieri, Chad Jesco, Hunter Clapham, Jared Kessler, and Ethan Ansel are all still in school and should be able to wrestle as individuals at this tournament. We're imploring you to overturn the decision so they can compete as individuals, since this pause is not mandated. I want to ask you to take a motion on this and to possibly reverse it tonight so that they can, in fact, be at that tournament Friday and Saturday. On a different note, which obviously does not need to be dealt with this evening, we have concerns for the postseason, and we just ask that you begin considering possible alternatives to pausing athletics and allowing individuals to continue on with their season, since it does come down to just that, an individual competition. Again, thank you for your time and listening to our concerns. Sincerely, all of Falcon Wrestling, the team, the parents, and the community. Thank you.
That concludes, non-agenda items before the call. Moving to.
I have a question. Mr. Evans, I don't want to put you on the spot, that's the kind of do. At the beginning of the year, every extracurricular, and I'm sure you did, notified coaches, band, whoever it was, what we were doing from the beginning of the year to the end of the year as far as our policy or here, if we had any cases, and we've already followed that with extracurriculars up to this point, correct? Notified, let every coach, sponsor, anyone know going in, what the funds so forth. We do that throughout the year, correct?
Moving to, assistant to the superintendent comments. Dr. Cook, you have anything to add this evening? Mrs. Robson, you're filling in for? Nothing?
Thank you.
Thank you. Superintendent President, please.
Thank you, President Nomadic. I'd like to congratulate Jenna McGinnis on reaching a milestone in her career as earning her permanent certificate. It's a milestone in every educator, and to be recognized by the board as officially earning that level too is an accomplishment. I'd also like to recognize the Collinsville High School students that I recognized on Monday that through competitive audition to represent Collinsville at the 2021 Pennsylvania Music Educators Association District 1 Virtual Chorus. Riley Artis, Ethan Hamilton, Alexander Huffman, Lacey Morris, Hunter Rodman. They've earned the ability to submit virtual auditions to the PMEA state course, and we wish them the best of luck and await their results. I'd also like to update the community on our abilities and efforts to be a part of the vaccination process here at Collinsville School District. We have made our facilities available if so desired and so approved eventually by the board for phase 1A, phase 1B, phase 1C, phase 2 vaccinations when they become available in Fayette County. And we also want to endeavor our employees to become vaccinated and make that as easy as possible for our employees. And if we can do it on site, we feel that that would eliminate any obstacles that may present themselves to those employees, much like we see great participation in flu shots because it's a relatively user-friendly process. Today, the administration team met with Cheryl Lucas from our EAP LIDO partners through our healthcare consortium to learn about our employee assistance program to be able to meet the needs of each other as administrators and also all of our fellow employees through all the ranks of employees, so that when we see the need for social, mental, physical health needs, we have an outlet to go to our employee assistance program.
We look forward to supplying our employees with that right that they have through our healthcare consortium. It was a very interesting and knowledgeable lunch and learn where the administrators gave up part of their lunch to go ahead and meet with Shoal who presented to us virtually about their EAP program. And second to the last, I'd like to discuss the unveiling of our COVID-19 dashboard on our website, which is live tonight, and it addresses some of the concerns, but not all of them, that Mr. Butchko and Mr. McCoyle raised about students in attendance and the numbers that vary. The dashboard will be presented in a way that the PDE-defined 14-day window that guides and governs our closures is presented. How many active cases exist in that 14-day window, as again defined by the Department of Health and the Department of Education. When a building reaches their threshold, that building will be closed. And when I mean closed, it won't be able to be entered by any employee other than cleaners. And the term deep cleaning is not a term that is seen in PD or DOH. We sanitize and we clean every surface nightly. So we reach the sanitation levels from the Department of Health. And then whenever that building is closed, we go through high-touch areas and re-clean those areas. We're in communication with the Department of Health quite often. Today, for example, I was contacted, or Dr. Coons contacted the Department of Health 8 times. So you figure in a 7-hour day, we're in contact with them over once an hour. And that was just on an average day today that I took a tally sheet of. Also, it's very imperative that the community and our staff understand that while an individual is in their contagious stage, so it would be the day that they're positive, 48 hours before, they would be in that window. If they weren't on campus during that stage, PDE and the Department of Health do not list them in our window. So they do not impact the closure or opening of a school or of a particular building. I shared this with Mr. McCoyle on Monday, and the numbers are accurate according to the Department of Health. We also want to inform the community that on days that Paulsbury School District is virtual, right now that is Wednesday, if a building is closed, those employees would report to an open building to use our facilities and to be able to work out of the facilities that the taxpayers have supplied them. If it is a face-to-face day, those teachers will work from home, and they will obviously fulfill the professional expectations, as we know they will, and we have a great deal of belief that they will do that. With that said, I urge everybody to check out the dashboard, and I thank Mr. Ghost for facilitating the graphics on that and being able to update that quite timely. Our desire, our hope, our goal is to update that every day around 4 p.m. Don't hold me to exactly 4 p.m., but it'll be in that time frame somewhere as we get cases in. It'll be updated, and as cases leave that 14-day window, the 14-day window will be reset as well. And with that said, my last item is to again recognize our Board of School Directors during January School Board Directors Month. The 9 individuals on this board run for an office that is thankless, and they have the students' interest at heart, and I thank them, and we present them with certificates from the Pennsylvania School Board Association on Monday, and I thank them for their work and their dedication to the whole community of Connellsville. Thank you, and that's all my comments, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Matt.
Mr. Matt.
Yes, go ahead.
I would like to volunteer my services if we do create a COVID committee made up of a number of individuals from all different representative groups. Mr. Harshman mentioned that we would look into that I would be considered to represent the board with others if that case came to be. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to serve on that committee.
Very well. We have 2 volunteers. We've got 3 volunteers.
I guess I would need a definition of what the goal of the committee is. I'm just
just so that I can serve the community and I can serve the, I'm not sure I was asking Mr. Ford, I was asking my board.
Can I just say one-
Absolutely.
one thing?
Absolutely.
I think one goal of that committee could be to get information out to the public in a timely manner that's very accurate, that represents all ages, older people, young people of the community. I think that's all I was asking for with that.
And in all due respect, these decisions are made in a 24-hour cycle, so that board, that committee will have to basically meet daily. Okay. This is where, so you're aware of the commitment. You're committing to a daily meeting. I'm not sure what the committee's for. I mean, I'll do whatever you guys want. I'll form a committee.
But, yes,
We'll form a committee, thank you.
maybe that's the first task of the committee. Figure out what you can do.
Item number one, decide our mission for the committee.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Bernard, if I could ask also on that committee, if something would be addressed, or looked into as far as the grades, the grading for our kids, because it's not, I don't know if you're aware of it, but it's not good. And I would appreciate the grading policy and also the attendance. You know, like I said, if the students are marking themselves present on Wednesday, why didn't I have 100% participation today? I have a Google Hangout every Wednesday for an hour, and I have one student on it. One. I tell you, in front of this audience and the board, it's not working.
Mr. Butcher, we can have Mr. James go over the Department of Education's definition of attendance and completion of work.
Well, it would be nice if PDE would come out just like they did in March, and they said that it's a pass or fail, because that is what the students in this district and many more are expecting. They think that it's going to be a pass or fail. And just like I said, remember, later down the road, those students are going to be fixing your cars, taking care of you possibly in a nursing home.
Mr. Bushko, since you addressed that to me, I would like to say, if I may, I think it's very important that this committee, if it does become a committee, is very focused on what it does, and we would probably leave that up for administrators and the committee to make that decision. I think the comment that the first job of the committee would be to find what focus that committee is later is a good idea.
Okay, nothing else, do I have a motion, a second to adjourn, please?
Okay,
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
sorry, can I get a motion for, the vote for the wrestlers, for these boys who are varsity?
No, no, sir,
Last week?
here, you need to sign it, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Hey, I'll make some thinking there, Brian. These guys, we're just not really quite under an understanding of what's going on with, the boys not being able to quarantine, they don't have to quarantine or nothing like this. Our, JV wrestlers were allowed to go to the Power on Sunday as an unattached, individual. And as I'm aware of it, and I was told that these, our varsity boys could also actually go and compete in this, but that's not fair for the university kids that's gonna be there for our boys together. These boys working entirely too hard. My son's a senior. His 18th birthday is tomorrow. He's worked his tail off to try to get a college education out of this sport. And it's going to be taken away. This is the biggest tournament in the country right now. Other ones got cancer. This is it. This is a look for college coaches to come out and see him and all the rest of the kids and what's going on. I mean, this is our shot. And if the CDC isn't quarantining these boys, I just would like for you guys to just at least take a vote and try to get these boys wrestling because they really truly deserve it and they're good kids. And so, thank you.
Just a quick comment. The board doesn't vote on the different guidelines when we're doing closures or anything like that. It's not done by the board vote. The board, way before school started, we set up a plan to return to school. And I don't want to speak for Mr. Bradley, but Mr. Bradley lives this COVID stuff every minute of the day. I believe we are being consistent, Mr. Bradley. Again, I'm not speaking for you, or the solicitor, but I think we're being consistent across all the groups.
We have paused other extracurriculars, athletics, and co-curricular activities. Correct.
I just have one question, I'm sorry. The part that isn't clear, if you can take the same student, he can go to a tournament as a JV wrestler, and that's okay. But that same student can't go to that same tournament as a varsity wrestler. What's the difference?
I was unaware until two seconds ago that any junior varsity wrestlers, they under this clause, they would not be eligible to attend that event. Under this clause. Now, I know that our JV is a totally different entity. However, that would have to be something that obviously I just found out about 2 seconds ago, so that would have to be explained. So that they wouldn't be eligible to, for example, wear school issue uniform, things like that. But
well, they would. They can go as individuals and sign up as an individual, but be not unattached. They can go as an unattached wrestler.
I'm not aware of that, sir, until 2 seconds ago.
So, I mean, if they can do it as an unattached wrestler JV, why can't they just go and wrestle as varsity like they should, like they're scheduled to? There's really no difference. The same students get on the same mat, the same week.
Can us as parents
If the board would like to go into executive session, they have that as part of it as well.
one more thing, could us as parents take on varsity wrestler right now, to the express, and get a COVID test so that it's back, and if a negative COVID test comes through, we may be able to wrestle Friday. On our parents' bill, we pay whatever we gotta do. These kids really need, they deserve a shot.
I can think of it at school, but they get wrestled. Understand why they're, maybe I just don't understand.
The extracurricular is adjacent to our mission. The extracurricular activity is high risk, regardless of whether you're playing basketball, even our course, our band, those things are more high risk activities than actually sitting in class as close to social distance. Even if we don't quite get social distance, as close to social distance as we can. And that's been applied rather consistently throughout the tenure of this COVID. So the pauses have been applied to co-curricular and extracurricular activities. I mean, you raised valid points and serve diversity of the pool.
Excuse me, is the board capable of doing that executive session voting, or is that just something, we're basically?
Well, executive session just gives them a private place to discuss whether it's legal issues, personnel issues, things that fall under executive session. So when we're talking about personnel, we're talking about health and safety, those are items, the cell of the building, those are items, are certain defined with categories that Mr. Wood's very well aware of, that you're allowed to break and go to executive session, and then come back out in public, and you would make the vote in public, you're not allowed to vote in private.
Absolutely, and we're just wanting to make sure that that's the consistency that is getting spoke about is applying the same rules, so, the same circumstances. Ours may be slightly different, where exposure wasn't necessarily a thing. So that's just something we want everybody to be mindful of. We're okay with the precedence that's set up, and if was sitting right beside somebody, obviously the same way that the school would make them not come to class, would be applied, we appreciate that, definitely have to respect and safety. But we just want this to be seen as what it actually was, which there was not the exposure as defined by anybody. And we're just begging you guys, let these kids do what they do and not just say, this is just how it is, close the book, close mind. We're just begging you guys to please go to executive session and vote on this privately.
Point of clarification here. When you made your presentation, you were asking us to rescind the stopping of the program, the halt of the program for temporary motion to do anything to do that. Now I'm hearing that you have an event this weekend where this child, student, the athlete will be going as an individual. Are those the same, or are they two different issues?
It's the same all in one, because they hold the season for 10 days, that we can't be this tournament this week. The biggest tournament this week.
But it's only been halted for varsity wrestling.
So, yes.
JV wrestling.
That's because it's, yeah, but people were using that, the JV is a separate entity where the varsity kind of falls under like school guidelines, so I get the rationale on that. But if we're not allowed to be for 10 days, we do miss out on this opportunity, so whether the wager be that we roll back the pause, or we say, any major committee can come up with better rules, we're talking about postseason, we'd like you guys to address that if testing for the students, paid out of the parents' pocket, whatever it takes, we have to do this organization, that everything to kind of keep these kids moving forward safe, and doing things without taking pauses that are there. I mean, we can get these kids tested to compete, there's lots of things that we can do to keep this a little bit, kind of keep things going and moving, and that's what we're actually going to do, just kind of something other than this is how it's said, this is what we made up at the beginning of the year, and now it applies 8 months later.
Mr. O'Malley, I make a motion, we go into executive session.
Reverend, can you clarify the difference between varsity or having the debut for us, please?
So this weekend, Power varsity.
Microphone.
So this weekend, Powerade tournament in Monroeville, it's 3 days. Friday and Saturday is the varsity tournament. That is a school sanctioned event. So you would be going to the varsity Powerade, you would be going as a representative of Connellsville. What they were talking about then on the third day, on Sunday, is a JV tournament. In a JV tournament, you can wrestle as an individual, what they would call in wrestling unattached. So I think the point they were trying to make is on Sunday, they can, because their son or daughter is in quarantine, they can go on Sunday and wrestle as an unattached wrestler.
And just a point of clarification, Rich, that would be obviously not any school district, transportation school district, coaching school district, uniform school district. It would be like they found a tournament in Erie and just went and signed up.
I guess the fact of the matter is that the JV tournament, the school district was going to enter and was going to pay for. We had to cancel that because of the 10-day shutdown. So I guess their point is, even though we have canceled out of that as a school, can they still go as an individual for the JV tournament?
We're here. Right. I mean, that's about the point, and I think unattached, we can do it anyway. I respect for Mr. Bradley's thing, we'll make sure those guys know they can't work on school apparel. That's contrary to what the current rules are. We're saying for our varsity boys who are going as representatives of the school district, that you guys either roll back the 10-day pause due to the fact that there was no close contact and we are not quarantining, or you make an exception that says, should we be tested as according to the CDC, the Department of Health, or whatever else, and become obviously negative and eligible to compete in this event, that we do so. Because we can't just ask Mr. Volcano, the director of the tournament, to enter individually because it is a high school sanctioned event. We can't go on our own anyway, nor will we want to for disrespect for our district. So we're asking you guys if you would vote to allow either the change to the rollback to the 10-day, or to allow us to test or whatever other measures are necessary to get our kids safely to this competition.
Okay, Mr. Horson made a motion to adjourn the executive session. Is there a second? Motion is second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Guess we can just step across the hall.
Yeah. Mr. Matt, can I request that Mr. Witt and Mr. Evans attend?
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.